The screen fades in from black. Slow, somber music hums in the background as a narrator's voice pierces the silence. Sometimes, heroes wear uniforms. Sometimes, they carry scars you'll never see. And sometimes, the world forgets them, until the truth walks through a door that changes everything. The camera shifts to a cold, gray courtroom. Wooden benches, whispers in the air, and the weight of judgment looming heavy over one man. Hands cuffed, head lowered, the uniform of his past long stripped away. He was a Marine sniper. A warrior who had spent years in the dust and fire of foreign lands, carrying out missions so secret that even his own family never knew the full story. His name was Sergeant Ethan Cole. And on this day, he was standing trial as a criminal. Ethan had been arrested 2 months earlier after a confrontation outside a bar in a quiet American town. To the public, it looked like just another case of a veteran unable to adjust, losing his temper, and breaking the law. The cops had dragged him out, slammed him against the hood of their car, and snapped the cuffs around his wrists. But what no one in that courtroom knew, not the judge, not the jury, not even the prosecuting attorney, was that Ethan Cole had once been sent on missions so classified, his very existence in those operations was denied by the government he served. Missions where his rifle wasn't just a weapon, but the final thread holding entire platoons together. The trial began. The prosecutor painted him as reckless, a danger to society, a man who couldn't let go of violence. The defense attorney tried to argue PTSD, but Ethan, proud and unyielding, refused to be painted as broken. He sat tall, even in chains, his gaze steady but distant, as though he were still on some battlefield only he could see. Whispers filled the courtroom. Some people pitied him, others judged him, and Ethan's own heart carried the heaviest burden of all, the thought that maybe they were right. Maybe the country he bled for had no place for men like him anymore. But then, it happened. The heavy wooden doors at the back of the courtroom creaked open. The sound echoed like thunder through the tense silence. Every head turned. The bailiff froze. Even the judge paused mid-sentence. And there he was. A 4-star general. The ribbons on his chest gleamed. His presence alone seemed to command the air, pulling every breath from the room. Soldiers in attendance snapped to attention instinctively, even though they weren't on duty. Civilians felt it too, that weight of authority, respect, and history walking among them. General Marcus Hale, a man known across the armed forces. A leader who had commanded divisions overseas, a man whose decisions had shaped entire wars. And now, he was here, in this small courtroom, for one reason. To face Ethan Cole. The judge blinked, stunned. General Hale, what brings you here? The general didn't look at the judge. He didn't look at the lawyers, or the jury. His eyes locked on Ethan, the Marine sitting in chains. And then, with a voice that carried the gravity of 1,000 battlefields, the general said, "I am here, to apologize." The words hit the room like a detonation. Gasps, murmurs. Even Ethan's expression cracked for the first time, confusion, disbelief, a flicker of something long buried. General Hale stepped forward, his polished shoes echoing across the marble floor. He turned to face the judge. "Your Honor, before this court condemns this man, you need to understand who he is. Because Sergeant Ethan Cole is not a criminal. He is a protector, a savior, a Marine who has carried this nation's burdens in silence while the rest of us slept safely in our beds." The judge leaned back, visibly shaken. "General, are you testifying on his behalf?" Hale nodded. But then, his voice broke slightly, and for the first time, the room saw something rare in a man like him, humility. "I'm not just testifying, I'm apologizing. Because men like Sergeant Cole, we used them. We sent them into hell. We demanded their sacrifice. And when they came home, we abandoned them. We left them to carry the weight alone. And that is our failure. My failure." The courtroom was silent. No one dared breathe. Hale went on, his words heavy, cinematic, and raw. He recounted missions the public had never heard of. Nights when Ethan had laid in the dirt for days, waiting for a single shot that would save hundreds of lives. Times when entire squads had walked away alive only because Ethan was watching over them from a hidden ridge. He spoke of valor, of sacrifice, of the unseen heroes who lived in the shadows while the headlines spoke of others. And every word he spoke was a blade cutting through the chains of perception that bound Ethan in that room. Finally, Hale turned back to Ethan. "Sergeant, you should never have been left alone to bear this. For that, I apologize. Not just as a general, but as a man. As someone who owes you more than I could ever repay." Tears welled in the eyes of strangers in that courtroom. The jurors shifted uncomfortably, realizing the weight of their duty. Ethan himself lowered his head, fighting a storm of emotion he had trained his whole life to suppress. Because for the first time, someone of power, someone who mattered, had spoken the truth. The judge finally spoke, voice trembling with the gravity of the moment. "Sergeant Ethan Cole, this court sees you. Not as the charges describe you, but as the man General Hale has revealed you to be. This case is dismissed." The gavel struck. The chains were unlocked. And as Ethan stood, his wrists finally free, the entire courtroom rose to their feet, not out of obligation, but out of respect. The camera closes in on Ethan's face as the music swells. The years of silence, of scars, of burdens carried alone, all reflected in his eyes. But now, for the first time, there was something else too. Recognition. The scene fades to black as the narrator's voice returns. Some battles are fought overseas. Others are fought in silence, in the hearts of the men who return. But every once in a while, the truth walks through a door. And when it does, it reminds us that heroes are not forgotten. Not forever. The music softens into a hauntingly beautiful note. If this story moved you, if it reminded you of the silent sacrifices made by those who serve, then honor them. Share their story. And never forget, like, comment, and subscribe, because stories like these deserve to be told.